Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday
Hi.
again. Welcome to our weekly live call. My name is Bola Sokunbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Finance, and we're an online financial empowerment media platform for women. We have over 30 plus completely free courses, and my amazing co-host Yazmir will introduce herself.
Hey everyone, I'm Yazmir. I am the content creator for Clever Girl Finance. I'm joining you from New York City.
Yes, so thank you guys so much for coming in. We do this live every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'd love for you guys to share where you are joining from. So I see folks coming in. Hi, Dahlia. Hi, Esther. She says she has her pen and her notebook ready. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Mamuna. Hey, Nafisa. Nafisa, you won the giveaway last week, but you have not emailed us your mailing information. So please do that. Hi, Joyce. Hi, KH. So today's topic is pretty interesting. We're going to be talking about why you need a rich husband slash rich partner, and this is part of a. This discussion is, I guess, inspired from a chapter in my upcoming book that comes out on July 6th of this year. And the chapter is chapter 6, I think. And it's called About My Rich Husband. So Yasmin and I are going to be getting into that. Before we start the topic, though, I wanted to mention that the New York City book launch event is official. So it's going to be happening on July 9th in New York City in Midtown Manhattan. And the details, if you want to join us in New York for this event on Saturday, July 9th, are in the notes, the link section below this video. So please check it out. So let's get into it.
Yes, so we're just continuing our conversation from last week. Today we're going to talk about relationships and money. So in your book, Bola, Choosing to Prosper, which will be released July 6th, you have a chapter titled "My Rich Husband," is um, which is quite funny, I find, and good and a good title. But just to provide context, you had a Money Magazine article that was published about how you were able to save up $100,000 in 3 years. And then it was casually mentioned that you were married to a physician. And there was a lot of backlash. A lot of the comments were like, well, you married in rich because you married a doctor. So that's how you were able to save the money. You couldn't have possibly do it on your own, things like that. But we're going to talk about like why you need a rich husband. And this is something a lot of women can relate to because when we share our success, because we want for others to know that it is possible, we do receive that backlash often, and there's doubt and critique. So, Bola, what advice would you offer women who are going through that?
Yeah, so there's this idea that, and it's kind of like a relic idea, but it's still ongoing, where people will see a successful woman and they'll think that there's somebody sponsoring her life, or it's because of somebody. And even till today, like, people will make comments about me and saying, "Oh yeah, Bola can do this because she has a rich husband, or it's because her husband is a doctor that she can do all this stuff." And a lot of women, you see successful women who have built businesses, who have achieved big wealth milestones, and then you'll see people say things like, it's because she dated so and so, it's because he was married to so and so, it's because, it's almost that association that in order for women to be successful, it has to be tied to a man. And that's just very much coming from that whole patriarchal angle, where we still very much live in, a man's world. And there's this ideology, like, sometimes it's intimidating to see a successful woman. And I see a lot of women go through that, not just with finances or business, but even with their careers. And I would just say that it's really important to stand firm on what you want to accomplish. People are going to think what they want to think about you. They're going to feel how they want to feel about you. But the important thing to know is that it does not affect your bank account balance. It should not affect your ambition. It shouldn't affect the goals that you desire and the things that you want to accomplish for yourself. So I would say stay focused and ignore what people have to say. But I will also say that you want to share your story to inspire other women who are feeling intimidated about all the noise out there, that they too can be able to stand on their own 2 feet and they don't need to have, you know, it's not the criteria is not to have somebody supporting your life. You can do it on your own. It's completely possible.
Yes, and I think it's important not to sort of like play down our accomplishments just because we don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Because
Yes.
while there are others that will feel uncomfortable because they're insecure, there will be people that will celebrate you.
There will be people that will celebrate you, and sometimes it still can be challenging, because one of the things I talk about in this book was when I was having investor meetings and attempting to raise money for Clever Finance. And I remember I would go to meetings with my pitch set up. I would, I was ready to talk about, the goals for the business and all that kind of stuff. And mind you, I did almost 100 investor meetings in like a short span of, a few months, 2 3 months. And the very common question was, "Are you married?" Somebody asked me, "What does your husband think about this?"
Mm.
What does my husband think about what the business that I'm presenting to you, that has nothing to do with whether I'm married or not, whether I have a husband or not. Some another woman thought she was being helpful to me, and she told me that, oh, she thinks that if I go to investor meetings, maybe I shouldn't wear my wedding rings, so that people don't have to think about the fact that, I'm married. Or so it's just this whole idea of like, what does the man in your life think? What the and it, yeah. So let's keep going. We'll talk about it some more.
Well, speaking of marriage, that's a good segue to my next question. Many of us females can often have pressure from our family, our friends, society to get married. Um, and so, like, they'll look at you like, what's wrong with you if you're just focusing on like your career and your goals and not really so much marriage. And it can be frustrating, that people just focus in on that and not everything else that you're doing that is important. So Bola, what advice do you offer women who getting pressured to get married and getting criticized and ridiculed for being single?
So yeah, so I'm all for the institution of marriage. I love being married. I'm happy to be married. I wanted to get married. Obviously, that's not everybody's choice, but that was my choice. So I am for the institution of marriage, but there definitely is a lot of pressure for women, especially from my background. So I'm originally from Nigeria, and one of the priorities for a woman once you're done with college is to find a husband. And this is something that your mother, your aunties, everybody is putting pressure. Are you dating? Don't you want to get married? What is this grad school? What is this career? You should focus on finding a husband. There's a lot of pressure than on that aspect. And I definitely felt it. And I remember I would tell my aunties I'm not ready. And, I would laugh about it. And they would be so offended that I was laughing at such a serious situation. And I get their idea is that they want you to have a partner to go through life with, because life can be lonely. As you're going through milestones, it's all about celebrating life with someone and growing old with someone. I get the idea, but at the same time, the pressure can make a woman feel less than. It can make her feel uncomfortable, and it can also be distracting from the goals that she has from herself. If all you're being told to do is find a husband, then what about the big ambitions you have for yourself? And so a lot of women end up minimizing their dreams, minimizing their goals in pursuit of this person. And because of the pressure, sometimes they end up with someone who might not be the right person for them, but they just feel the need to settle down because that's what it's supposed to be. And so it's also really important that as you're dating, you date the right person, right? So the pressure is one side. Ultimately, you're the one in the relationship, and you're the one who's choosing whether or not you get married. And so you want to have this understanding conversation, get to know your partner, and express your goals, express your ambitions, and learn what theirs are, and understand whether or not they're going to be supportive, right? So the other issue I see is a lot of women end up settling for, a partner who does not want them to do anything beyond housemaking, child rearing, go to your 9 to 5. They're not interested in side hustle. They're not interested in any team mindset about building wealth together. They're not interested in that. But because this person wants to marry them, they end up settling. And I think that's the wrong angle. And, I was very particular about when I first met my husband of this is what I want to accomplish. What is your own goal for your own life? Like, are you also planning to ambitious, or do you just not want to be that kind of guy? And if that's the case, then maybe it won't work out between us. So I think it's getting really clear with what you want for yourself, knowing who you are, right? And then once you are clear on the goals you have for yourself, once you know who you are, it makes you being confident with your partner easier. It makes it less likely for you to settle for a relationship that you don't want for yourself, because you're trying to please other people. The biggest mistake you can make in a relationship, in a marriage, is to get involved with somebody because other people want this for you, right? And I see this happen so often where, I know people who have been divorced, and the only reason why they married this person was because the pressure from their family was just too much. And they realized in the relationship that this person is not right for me. We don't have the same goals, we don't have the same values. So you really want to get clear on who you are, be clear on your goals, take your time, right? Marriage is a life commitment, right? I don't think anybody goes into marriage with the intent that they're going to get divorced, even though sometimes it does not work out. But you want to go knowing that you're making the right decision for yourself. And I just saw some comments here. So New Philly Girl said that it's unfortunate that someone thinks that that's the only way it's accomplished. I'm assuming this is from when we talked about people asking about, what my husband thinks. However, it helps that there's a safety net. I'm building a business as a married woman. Yes. So if you guys have, when you're in a relationship, in a marriage, there should be that sense of team spirit, team mentality, where if one person has a goal they're going to pursue, the other person is there to support them. So New Philly Girl, I agree with you. It definitely is a safety net. It definitely is a support system. And that's how it should be, right? You guys should have those joint goals together. And then Clementine said, medieval times are still here. Sometimes that is true. Being in a good relationship is good. Being single and happy, finding your way is good. We celebrate and appreciate every woman. Exactly. So, we're living in a world today where women are choosing, right? Women are choosing to be single. Women are choosing to raise children on their own. Women are choosing to be married, or they're choosing to get divorced. All of that is fine. I am a big proponent of do what is going to give you peace, what's going to, let you just feel comfortable with yourself. Don't feel that you should be forced to get into or stay in any situation. And that's so incredibly important.
Yeah, so let's say you are in a relationship or married to someone who does have the same goal of like building wealth and is on board. Why is it important for a woman to be able to stand on her own 2 feet while building wealth?
Yeah, so for me personally, I'll tell you why it's important for me. So growing up, my dad always told me, and I talk about this in the book, and he said to me, I'm going to read it to you what he says. My dad said, he always, and he said it to me before I got married, even after I was married. He told me, you never want to marry a liability, and you never want to become a liability on any man. If there's any advice I take from my dad, it is that I never want to marry liability, which means I don't want to be with someone who's going to be a burden in my life, and I don't want to become the burden in that person's life, right? Which is essentially what a liability is. And my dad gave me this advice because he didn't ever want me to be in a situation where I was stuck. I was stuck in a relationship because someone is a burden on me, or I didn't have any money and then I become a burden on this person and I wasn't able to exit, and then I'm unhappy. My dad always wants me to be happy. That's what he always tells me. I want you to be happy. And so, um, you know, that's for me, that's why it's important. I'm not going to be anybody's liability, and I'm also not going to let anybody be a liability on me. And so being able to stand on your own 2 feet gives you options, right? You can exit a relationship if it's not working out for you. You can take your kids and you can move on and know that, you know what, you are going to be fine. Being able to stand on your own 2 feet means that you can contribute financially to your household and be a true partner in your relationship with your partner. Keep in mind that when I say contribute financially in your household, this is nothing against women who are stay-at-home moms who don't have an income. My mom was that for many years, and just because you're not contributing financially does not mean that you are not contributing at all, right? If you were to weigh the cost of all the things you do as a stay-at-home mom and add on price tags, that is a multi-six-figure salary. So I'm not diminishing the stay-at-home moms, the homemakers here, but you want to know and remind yourself of the value that you bring to the table. And even if you don't have income coming in, you could be the income manager in your household where you designate the finances. But for me, having that financial backing, money in my bank account, gives me options. I can contribute to my household finances. I can exit a relationship. Me and my husband can join forces and even build a bigger empire, let me call it that, for us, for our children, for our family, generationally. And I think there's value in, if you have kids or you choose to have kids, that your children see that mommy too contributes here, right? Whether you're a homemaker, whether you're a career woman, whether you're a businesswoman, whatever contribution you bring to your household, you want to showcase it to your children, right? So that they can also see that, yes, mommy has a lot of value in this household. Even though daddy has value, my mother also has a lot of value in this household. So just having that option, right? I don't know how many of you have heard me talk about my mom, but my mom got married very young. She was 19 years old. She was a high school diploma. My dad was a PhD holder, and she was a stay-at-home mom, 4 kids, right? That's all she did. And when she got into her 30s, she started to see things happening with her friends that she did not like. She was seeing friends who maybe their husband would die, and the husband had put all the family assets in his own family's name, and she would have nothing. She was seeing friends in abusive relationships who could not exit the relationship because they had no money and nowhere to go. And there were times that I would see my mom's friend and her kids in our house in the living room with suitcases, and they're spending the night because their husband is beating them. There's nowhere to go, or just woman wants to leave a relationship because it's no longer working out, and she has no idea about the finances. She's not working, she doesn't have any money, all that kind of stuff. So just having those options, is so incredibly important. And I'm not talking about hiding money from your partner. I'm not, it doesn't make your partner less of a man or a person if they have a successful wife, right? If anything, the person you're with, if you are aligned together, should be excited and should celebrate the fact that, wow, my partner is doing well. This is amazing. And one more thing I'll say, this is when I first started working, like in my early 20s. I used to have a friend, and he was just very intimidated by women who were working, saving money. And he told me he could never marry somebody like me because I was too ambitious. I'm like, so who do you intend to marry? You want to marry like a yes sir kind of person that's just going to say, oh, whatever you say, sir? Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Coming to America, where they're trying to match make Prince Hakeem, and he meets the princess, and he's like, what do you like? And she's like, whatever you like. What's your favorite food? Whatever your favorite food is. No, this is 2022. We're not doing that. So
That's right. So our discussion is based on your chapter about my rich husband, but you don't talk about your rich husband in the sense of money. How do you define a rich husband or partner?
yeah, so the title of this conversation is why you need a rich partner, rich husband, whoever you're with should be rich. And this is not us talking about dollars and cents, right? Obviously, we want our partner to be doing well. We want ourselves to be doing well. But to me, a rich husband goes beyond money. A rich partner goes beyond money, right? A rich partner is someone who's rich in values, who's rich in ambition, who's rich in character, someone who is fierce for their family, who's fierce for you, who is rich in the ideas that they have for the things that they want to accomplish, who is going to work with you jointly to achieve your goals as a family, who is going to be, a great partner, dad, mom, to your children. That's what a rich partner is, someone who has all these different characteristics that just help you have a wholesome relationship. And these are also things that you, being in this relationship, also want to aspire to be. So I look at my husband and I'm not looking at, oh, how much money does this guy make as a physician, right? Because honestly, that is not a, for me, when I was getting married, that was not a sway for me because I have my own money, right? I don't care what you do. I don't care how much money you have in the bank because guess what? I'm good by myself. And so again, so when people have said, oh yeah, she married this, she found a doctor to marry. No, I did not find a doctor to marry. Right. So it's just, that's what a rich partner is, someone who has the values and the character and the integrity and all those things that lead to a wholesome relationship. Especially when things get really difficult, because relationships are never just, oh, who are so happily in love, a walk in the park. There will be times where you truly, truly dislike your partner. You are so annoyed with this person, they get on your nerves so much, or there will be times where you can just never agree on this thing that you can't agree on it, right? And during those times, those rich things is what's going to keep you guys going and help you guys get over those hurdles in your relationship.
And in this chapter, you talk about you and your husband working as a team. Has it always been like that in the beginning? Did you always share the same values and goals?
Yes, so it has always been like that because we did it for a while. We did it for like 6 years, and we always had those conversations about the things that we each wanted to accomplish. Sometimes they aligned, sometimes they didn't align. But I think over the years, we have both learned to give each other room for our own growth, even though we don't may not agree with it or may not be particularly interested in this thing. And just having that mutual respect between the two of us, right? So we talk about our financial goals, we talk about what we want, the things we want to do for our kids. We talk about personal goals, self-development goals. We are on the same page, and it's something that we're committed to doing because now it's not just the two of us. Now we have children, right? And our children are watching us as parents, and whether we want to believe or not, they're observing us. And so we are intentional about working together. And even when we don't agree, we find ways to come to a compromise. Like there's a lot of things that I may not agree with. Like, why do you want to do that? But I try to come to a compromise because there are things that I want to do that he doesn't he may not agree with. But my partner, my husband has been incredibly supportive, like, in terms of being a great dad, in terms of supporting my business. Like there will be times where I have to travel for work pre-pandemic, and he will reschedule his own work schedule so that I can go because this is something that's very important to me. This is something that is tied to a goal or ambition I have that he wants to support. And the same thing I do for him. So again, being with the right person, and not just any right person, because when you think about social media today, there's all these ideas of who the right person is. The right person for you, being with the right person for you is important. And everybody, I feel like when you are dating somebody or when you're married to somebody, you know what you can tolerate, you know what you love about this person, you know exactly what you dislike about this person. You know it. Once you've gotten to know this person, you know it. In the back of your head, even if you don't say it out loud, you know what it is about this person that drives you crazy and that makes you super in love with them. And then you have to decide within yourself, can I be with this person for the rest of my life? Because like I said, nobody goes into a relationship with the intention of a breakup or a divorce. So we are a team. I think that that's a goal. And a team doesn't mean have joint bank accounts. My husband and I, we do not have joint bank accounts. We have one joint bank account, separate bank accounts, because people always ask me this, but we still manage our finances jointly. Like nobody's hiding money. He's my power of attorney. I'm his power of attorney. That kind of stuff. But it's just that I want to have my own account so that I'm not explaining to you why I went to do my nails for $25, why I got my hair done. We're not going to fight about nails and hair. So it's like, but this is something that we've been able to establish within our relationship. So we have a rule that if we're going to be spending more than $1,000 now on something, that we just talk about, like, oh, I want to buy this thing. I'm going to pay for this thing. It costs $1,000. It costs $1,200. It's as simple as that. Like, I'm not going to buy something and hide it in my trunk, and then. But we've gotten to that point where we've been able to have these conversations, and so we definitely work together as a team.
Yes, and one of the goals you mentioned that you both share is building wealth. Why is building wealth so important for the two of you?
It is incredibly important because because of my background, for me as a Black woman, for me raising Black children, I need my kids to have options, especially living, in today's world. I need my kids to be able to walk away from situations that don't serve them. I need my kids to be able to be good human beings and give back and support their community. I want to be able to support my family. And I want to be able to contribute to closing that racial wealth gap, right? Statistics for Black and Brown people when it comes to wealth building are not good. They're very low. And this is not by fault of theirs. This is from a lot of systemic, generational things, historical things that have caused this great divide, right? But for me, knowing my background, knowing how much my parents, my grandparents struggled for me to be here in this place, I don't have any option but to do well, right? The criteria for me is to do well, because I cannot take for granted the sacrifices that were made for me to be here. And I want to give my children every opportunity that my parents did not have, that even I have not had, because I want them to also be able to pay it forward generationally, and not just for themselves, but for their own families and for their own communities as well.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. What's the best advice?
Belts and dresses. No. It's not worth. There's some things that are just not worth the fight, right? So when
Yeah.
I first got married, we would fight about all kinds of things, like, oh, no, who's gonna clean today? Who's gonna take out the trash? And then I realized this is not worth it. I'm gonna hire a cleaner, and we never fight about cleaning ever, ever, never, ever, because we have a cleaning lady. There's some things that are just not worth. I will pay for the cleaning lady, so we don't have to fight about who's gonna clean. Like, why are we in the grand scheme of the other things that we can really be fighting about? So pick your battles in a relationship. Pick your battle. Some fights are just not worth it. Some fights are. Some fights are worth it. Some are just not.
So what's the best advice you would say you received on relationships and money?
What my dad told me: don't ever be a liability. Don't let your partner be a liability on you. That's the best advice I've ever gotten.
Yes, you did mention that earlier, and that is very good advice.
Yeah.
And so, what is the biggest takeaway you want readers to walk away with when they read this chapter?
So this chapter about my rich husband, the one thing I want people to take away about it is, or from it, is that this is not a competition between men and women. This is not I can do battle by myself kind of thing. This is more of, it's okay to be successful and to be single. And it's okay to be successful and to be in a relationship, and know that, you were able to pursue all those goals and achieve all those accomplishments on your own. It's okay for you to have money in the bank and then be married to somebody. It's okay to contribute to your household finance. It's okay even if you are the breadwinner of your family. Whatever your circumstances are, what's really important is that you and your partner are on the same page. Because guess what? It doesn't matter whether you're single, you're married, you have money, you don't have money. People are always gonna have something to say about you. People are always gonna have something to say about you. And for me, I particularly celebrate my husband because he is a Black man in a world where the statistics and the numbers do not look good for Black men. You know, even Black men who are trying their hardest to succeed still face a systemic stumbling block every step um, of their careers, of their progress. So when you see, if your partner is succeeding, celebrate them, right? It's not a competition of between you and your partner. It's just knowing that it's okay for you to be successful. It's okay that your partner is successful, and it's okay that you choose to then combine your forces and be successful together. So there's all these ideas of, yeah, marrying rich, or you must get married, or shame on you if you get divorced. Please, no. The relationship is not working out for you, and it's a burden on your mental health, and you are in an abusive relationship. Please seek out options, right? But again, like I said, perfectly fine for you to be whatever you choose to be and be successful. It's fine.
Yes. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you so much again for your wisdom and for this book that I'm very excited. It'll be released July 6th. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it.
Yeah. So again, as we mentioned, this is coming out July 6th. I'd love for you guys to pick up a copy. I still have the Dahlia. This is your book I'm holding, by the way. I'm all out of copies, but the actual books, they're going to be in hardcover, start shipping on June 20th. So we're going to have more giveaways come then. And the New York City book launch event is on July 9th. The link to the event details and tickets are below. I'd love for you to pick up this book and learn more. Someone asked how me and my husband build wealth. I talk about it here. I talk about everything, meeting him, my wedding, all that
Yes.
kind of stuff in here. I talk about it. Talk about disagreements. So please check out the book. I talk about why I call him a rich husband. So if you're just joining, someone asks, definitely rewind. But I talk about rich being beyond money. So to give you some context, actually, because somebody said, why did I quote rich? Culturally, where I am from, when people say wealth is not tied to dollars and cents. So my full name is Mojibola, and it means I was born into wealth. So if someone who was not from my culture were to translate it literally, it sounds like I was born into money. But in my culture, wealth means everything I said. It means joy, happiness, peace of mind, good values, character. And those are the wishes that whoever names you, my grandmother named me, wants for you. So she wanted me to have wealth in terms of joy, happiness, peace of mind, all these things that she hoped for her grandchild. So that's what rich means to me, right? Anyone who thinks about rich just as money, I mean, obviously that's a literal translation, but it's a shallow idea of thinking about rich, right? Especially when you're talking about a partner. Because your partner can be a billionaire and it can be a hideous person. I can have all the money in the world and I can be a terrible person. Money doesn't mean anything, right? If you're not a good person, if you cannot have a good relationship with this person. So Natasha verbalized it perfectly. Abundance beyond the material. Exactly that.
Yes.
Yeah. So New York City, July 9th. The details are in the link below. And if there's any other topics from this book you want us to talk about, I think the look inside will be on Amazon soon, where you can click and look at the table of contents, leave a comment on one of these, on this most recent video. Someone got mad at us because we didn't see their comment. We're sorry. We're trying. We get so many comments on all these different videos, but on this particular video, if there's a topic you want us to cover from this book or just in general, leave a comment below this video, our most recent video, so that we can look at it and plan for next week. But yes, we'll be back next week. Yasmin, want to add anything?
No. Thank you all for being here. It's always fun to talk about money and have you all here with us today.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.